Hello, my name is Bree. I will be recording this tutorial today to demonstrate just some basic CAD CAM skills. In this tutorial, we will be 3D modeling a coffee mug. It's going to be a very plain Jane coffee mug with no frills or decorations on the sides. And I will walk you through the steps to model it. I'll give a brief breakdown of the CAD functionalities that we'll be utilizing, and I will walk you through how to export it into a 3D printable file format. To start with, we're going to go ahead and open Fusion 360. You can see that I have it already open on my screen here. Fusion 360 is the software of choice for me personally. It is free as a trial for 1 year and about $500 for a user license per year after that. I believe they also have a student edition where if you have a school or educational email address, they will just perpetually let you use it for free. There's a ton of resources out there and other classes as well, which I encourage you to explore if this is something you really want to get into. The slicing software that we're going to use is going to be Ultimaker's Cura, and I will leave links down in the descriptions for where to download these and find these other resources. So to begin, we're going to go ahead and we'll open our Fusion 360 software. You can see that it's a blank, untitled project, and we're going to go ahead and start by ensuring that the units of measurement that we're using are the ones that we want to use. I'm going to be using inches. By default, I believe it sets at 2 millimeters. That can be changed by going to this document setting tab, to the units, and clicking the change active units, selecting inches from the drop down. You can check set as default if you'd like to default use inches, and then clicking OK or apply. So we're going to go ahead and start by orienting our blank canvas here to the top plane using the isometric cube up the top right. We'll just click the top. So as long as you're seeing the word top here, you know that you're looking at the top plane of the modeling surface. We'll go ahead and click Create Sketch. Click on the little yellow square that pops up for us, and we will select the center diameter circle here at the top under the Create group. We'll go ahead and click the center axis point, which is this little origin point here in the center. It's a little gray circle. And we'll make our inside diameter, so where the liquid would sit in our coffee cup, 3.5 inches. Or you can make it as big as you want. I'm going to make mine 3.5 inches. We'll go ahead and make sure that the center diameter tool up here is still selected because we're going to want to go ahead and make the outside portion. And I'm going to make that 3.8 inches, so the walls of our coffee mug will be 0.3 inches thick. I will go ahead and click Finish Sketch, and now I can see that we have this, a ring with a center circle. I'm going to click Extrude and select these two profiles, so they'll turn bright blue. You'll see the little arrow pop up, and I'm going to drag it down. I'm going to do 0.2 inches, and this will be the bottom portion of our coffee cup. I clicked Enter to solidify the extrusion, but now you can see that our sketch profile is gone. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead, because we're going to need that to extrude the walls of our coffee mug. I'm going to go under Sketches, click the little eye icon here that unhides it, and then I will extrude this part. And this is going to be the mug. You can kind of see the body of it taking shape as we do that. And I'm going to go ahead, I will make it 4 inches tall. That's a pretty healthy mug. So now I have the body of the mug here. I have the bottom made, so our liquid's not just going to fall out the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and hide that bottom sketch again because we don't really need it anymore. So you can see that our mug's kind of starting to take shape. But we're missing a handle off to the side here. So there's a couple of ways to do this. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to go ahead and click Create Sketch. I'm going to make sure that we're focused on any plane that isn't the top or the bottom. It could be the left, the right, the front, the back. Any of them will work as long as it's a side profile of our coffee mug. I'm going to go ahead and click Create Sketch, and I'm going to click on the plane. So now we have the sketch tools back up and open. I'm going to use the Fit Point Spline Tool, and this allows me to create a curved line. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start it right about here, inside the wall of the coffee mug, so that it just automatically joins it for me when I go to create the sweeping extrusion for it. And I'll do it like that. And you can see that it automatically lined it up for me. This little blue line appeared to say, hey, you're lined up with this top point. So that automatically lined up the top and the bottom point for me. I really like the Fit Spline tool because it allows me to click and drag it into a shape that I want if I end up not liking the original sketch. I think that that's pretty coffee mug handle looking though. So I'm going to go ahead and click Finish Sketch. The next tool that we're going to use is going to be under Construction or Construct. We're going to select Plane Along Path. We'll click on that. I'm going to go ahead and select the fit point spline that we just made and drag the distance aspect, so this little arrow, right straight down to 0. I'm going to click OK. So that created a nice little plane here that we can go ahead and sketch on to create the profile for our coffee mug's handle. So again, I'm going to go up to Create, Create Sketch. I'm going to select that yellow square that just appeared. I can see that there's another origin point here, which is that little gray circle. It's a little bit harder to see on the gray body of the extrusion, but it's definitely there. I'm going to do an ellipse, which is under, if you click on Create, a little drop down, you can see it down here in this little drop down context menu. And I'm going to use an ellipse just because a lot of times coffee mug handles are flat but still round, so I think that that will give us kind of the best profile for it. Make sure that you click before you 0.5, 180. So with the ellipses, you can't just click enter. As you saw that I just did, it closed it out for me. So you have to go ahead and enter your dimension. So the 0.5, which is going to be the kind of sideways sizing that we're going to do. And then you have to click it. And then I'm going to make it 0.4 inches tall to kind of give it that ovally flat profile. So you can see that my ellipses right there. I'm going to go ahead and click Finish Sketch. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to go to Create. From there I will select Sweep. And sweeping allows for a non-linear path. It allows for a tangent chain or a chain selection path to be extruded upon or cut across. But it's, as opposed to it being strictly up and down like it did with the bottom profile of our coffee mug, it allows me to actually create this sweep along the path. So for the profile, I'm going to select that ellipses we just did for the coffee mug handle. And then for the path, I'm going to select the actual curve that comes out of the side of the mug. You can see that it's red right now, which means it's cutting into the body because it's saying, hey, this is already intersecting with a body. You probably want to cut. And that isn't the case for this. We're going to change the operation from cut here on this menu to join. And you can see that that made our coffee mug handle a solid. And I'm going to click OK. So now our coffee mug looks like a coffee mug. You can see that we've got our handle, we've got our coffee mug body here that we could theoretically pour liquid into. If you're going to 3D print this, just a little disclaimer, make sure you do lots of research on the materials that you're 3D printing with. If it's not a food safe material or doesn't say non-toxic, be sure to not use it. And if you do use it, don't drink out of it. Turn it into a pencil mug or hold something else, anything but liquid and consumables in it. So as a little extra thing that we could do to our coffee mug here, we could do a fillet on the bottom, so it makes the bottom of the mug nice and rounded. You can do this by dragging this arrow back and forth, and we can drag it in, and it creates this nice little curve on the bottom of our mug. And we can do the same thing up here on the top and just make it look kind of nicer and finished. And we can save it here, and we will go ahead and call it Coffee Mug. So you can see that it changed the name up here. We can see that it's version 0. This will iterate up to version 1, just like that, saying that, hey, this is version 1 of your coffee mug. From there, if we wanted to 3D print it, we could go to File, Export, and then we would select the STL file format from this list. And then we would go ahead and export it to wherever we can easily access it. All right. And that will go ahead and export. And once it's done, it'll tell us the status bar will fill up with blue. And when it's done, it'll tell us completed and allow us to view it in the File Explorer. All right, so once our model is exported, we can go ahead and open it up in Cura, and Cura will have it right here for us. We can see that it's yellow in this model. It's just saying this is the body of what we're going to be printing. Once you have your printer selected, you can select it and change any settings that you feel necessary. Red overhangs generally mean that it's an angle that, hey, it might not print super pretty. You might have some issues. That's where supports would come in. And that's going to be something I will put in a later video or in a different video describing exactly when you would want to have supports or have different build plate adhesion settings or things like that. But now we have this 3D printable mug. I hope that you guys found this video helpful. If you have any feedback, questions, or concerns, feel free to reach out to me either in the comments or via an email. I'll go ahead and link all my resources down in the comments below, so it's easy for you guys to kind of get in touch with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next tutorial.